Hey everybody, this is super duper producer Louis B. I just wanted to remind everyone to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. This helps with the algorithm and helps other people find this podcast. Thus helps Mercedes put light on her case. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, YouTube, and various other podcast platforms. Thank you in advance and enjoy the show. Once the most electrifying woman in pornography is now facing false charges in San Bernardino County, California. Sitting in jail for almost half a decade without a trial, she's exposing the corruption within the legal system. Calling from the West Valley Detention Center in San Bernardino County, you are listening to Behind the Walls with Mercedes Pereira.
Hello. It is October 30th, 2024. So it's the day before Halloween. I hate Halloween, but yeah, it's the day before Halloween. And thank you for recording this. I think it's been a minute. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really listening to these, but if you do, hello, God bless you. I guess we can talk about that. We can talk about a bunch of things. First, we'll talk. So Lou and I were talking. We're just talking offline about this very poorly executed, ill-timed joke about Puerto Rico. I think Lou's more upset about it than I am. Personally, I don't really get upset about jokes. I don't care that much. Puerto Rico today, I haven't been there obviously for years since I've been in San Bernardino County, locked in the bathroom. But the last time I was there, it looked much worse than it had when I was a child. And I think we can ascribe that to the liberal policies of the female politicians in Puerto Rico. So, is it an island of garbage? Well, there's certain parts of the downtown there that do look like it. I think that's part and parcel of like urban areas these days. I mean, most of America looks like garbage too. Let's be honest. America's a fucking continent of garbage. So, we can get upset about that. I think it just goes to show. I mean, Trump he doesn't know how to not do things where he's putting his foot in his mouth, and this is why I have from the beginning taken the stance, and I'm telling, I don't think Americans understand. There's nobody's going to come in and save this country. Trump didn't do it in his 4 years, and he's not going to do it now. This is like really base PR stuff. Like he always fails on. So imagine sending this guy to talk to. Can't do it. Chinese don't make these gas. The Russians don't make these gas. And so, it just goes to show you how incompetent Americans have become. Stupid, incompetent. It's the Republican Party. It's the Democrat Party. Like, it was George Lopez made some joke about he's Mexican, so it's okay. And, okay, talk about what I really want to talk about. This is what leads me into the discussion that what really matters, if we're really grounded, if you have any sort of spiritual insight, your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your nationality, none of these things matter. Not really. And if you notice, so when America was more, we'll say God-fearing, it was more of a Christian nation. And look, you can do this with any real religion when people are actually following it the real way, right? Not when they're following the bastardized version of it. But if you're following a spiritual system in any format, you'll understand the body is not who you really are. Your spirit is who you are. So you're not a male or a female or Hispanic or Puerto Rican or Mexican or black or white or Asian or whatever. Your spirit is the body, having an experience as a human. America has gotten so far off of that principle that everybody's running around going, oh, but I'm a LGBTQ, sheer black, white, Hispanic, whatever. A gender identity. Every month has a gender identity. Every month has a race identity. So this has become endemic to the American civilization. It's a really big problem. Extremely divided. When we start now saying, us, them, I'm this, you're that, I'm this, you're that. And we're identifying with this body that is going to die. Your body's going to die. You're all dying right now. Every single one of you is currently terminal. None of us know how much time we have left, but you could die tomorrow, you could die in 10 or 20 years, I don't know. But you're going to die. Your body is going to go. And that's just how it is. So, everything you notice right now in politics, everything you notice in America is all about subdividing people into their identity based on whatever their body is. And you see these conversations a lot. Well, but I identify as this is my experience as the person, as a Hispanic woman, as a black woman, right? And then there's all this bigotry attached to it, which is really bizarre because you're not that. That's not who you are. And so we used to understand that in America. That was the whole point of the American experiment, was that, all men are created equal. They say that. Was it that practice? No, of course not. I mean, look, and we can talk about that. We can go into but it wasn't fair. It was only white men, and then it was only black and white men who are landowners who could go blah 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 blah. We can pick that scab all we want. But right now, as it stands, everybody has the same rights and privileges in America, in theory. Maybe not practice, but in theory. And so but the problem is, if everybody knows that, and everybody understands that, and everybody works together, then everybody might look at each other and say, hey, you know what? You know what's really fucking us? It's those people in D.C. And they don't have a set gender or a set color. They're white, they're black, they're Hispanic, they're male, they're female. But what they are is they're wealthy. They control everything. They control the country. They control the world. They're actually, they don't even have a nationality. They're multinational corporations. They're independent of the laws of this country, and they're in charge. So what they need to do is keep all of us divided by going, well, I'm white, you're black, or I'm black, you're Hispanic, and so therefore we don't like each other. And this is an old form of governance. The Romans were great at this. These divide and conquer. Right? That's probably one of the terms came from Roman. Okay. It's an old form of empire. So all political systems, by necessity, and especially in the United States where you have this duality, right? So the red versus blue. Red versus blue, right? And if you put red and blue together, you get purple, which is royalty, right? So what they've done is they've taken the idea of a monarchy and split it in two. So you're going to, neither group is going to give you everything you want or need. That's how this is set up. So you're going to have one group for a while, and then you're going to be dissatisfied with them because they're going to, by design, be dissatisfactory. And then you're going to say, oh, okay, well, so like, we'll start with 2000. We'll just only go back 24 years, right? We had the Bushes. We had Bush 2. And, there's a terror attack that is of questionable origin, right? And then we get launched into these wars in the Middle East that have, that benefit certain people and not the populace, right? Sends a lot of young people to their death. We're still not sure what the net benefit is, right? And after 8 years of that, everyone says, "Oh, we're really sick of that. It's all terrible. And now we're gonna elect somebody who seems diametrically opposed to this. We're gonna elect a black guy with a Muslim name. He'll fix things, right?" So then what does he do? He works in the military. He gives things to Iran, who is a stated enemy of ours, right? He gives away, it seems like a socialist medical system, but really what it is a tax on the people. And keep in mind, every time these taxes, these systems are in place, it's really hard to get rid of them. Right? So now we're further in debt, and we're further in debt, and then everyone's sick of that. Right? So they think they're going to continue that. They're going to put Hillary Clinton in after 8 years of Barack Hussein Obama. Everyone's going to say, oh gosh, we're so sick of this. We need conservatism. So then, you get Trump, who he's a lark, but he wins because everyone can send that pendulum the other way, right? And then after 4 years of him, there's this illness of questionable origin that wrecks the economy. And then there's, a voting system that it has questionable problems. And then all of a sudden, because the DC people said, "Oh, that's enough of this guy. He's too chaotic. We're going to put in one of our old hats," right? This is the guy who's lost, Biden lost multiple times in his bid for presidency, but he's old reliable. He actually drafted up the Patriot Act. It was ready to go. They had the Patriot Act right there, ready to go. He was also, his son was the one that drafted the indictment for Larry Sinclair, who was the gay male prostitute who came forward at the National Press Club and said, hey, oh yeah, Barack Hussein Obama, when he was being very terror, he picked me up in his limo, we did crack cocaine together, and I sucked his dick. And Beau Biden said, well, I'm the Attorney General of Delaware. I need to make him come to jail. And then all of a sudden, Larry Sinclair was found, suiciding himself with 2 bullet holes in his head. Serious. Right? They all work together. This is, you read about ancient Rome and then you read about American politics today. It's the same. Right? And they're all going to tell you, I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. I do the good thing. I'm the honest. So the problem with Trump right now is he bought hook, line, and sinker into this kind of weird neo-fascism where white America is very, especially in the Rust Belt, right? They feel very insecure financially because their parents and their grandparents, were German and English origin people who every generation was a little bit wealthier. And this generation isn't. And the policies that led to this, all the offshoring and the outsourcing and the free trade, and that was done in the 80s and 90s. They thank Reagan for that. But people don't understand these economic policies take a few decades for us to feel the effects of it, right? So now they're like, well, it's these damn migrants, damn immigrants, these damn rare people, right? Because they're not intelligent enough to say, well, hold on. These policies that enrich these people at the top are the problem. Because people don't understand, they don't look at the cause and effect of the system. They say, well, I notice that I'm poorer. And then I also see more brown people. So therefore, that must be the brown people are causing my poverty. No, what's happening is white people stopped having children. And the policy in this country, those rich people at the top, the richest backfill with people from everywhere else. Because these people stopped having kids and we're going to need more low-income workers. Because America's going to become a third world country. There's a plan for it. That's the plan for it. America's going to become like a Mexico, right? And that's what's funny. And so then you have this weird groundswell of kind of neo-fascism. And Trump can't fix it. The only way to fix it would be to take a time machine back to 1980 and execute all of the politicians that created these policies. And even then, I don't know if it would work. It's a global system. So what it is it's like if all the countries were cups of water, right? Some are more full than others, right? Depending on their relative affluence. The people who are running the planet say, well, we don't want America to have 3 leaders while Zimbabwe has half an hour. We don't want that. We want to level this out. Because we don't live in any of these countries and we don't care. Or we live in Switzerland or we live in Monaco. We don't give a shit what these countries look like. Because we're not invested in them. So that's the real problem. And this is now a hydra that is multinational, is corporate, is global. And, so then you have these people like Trump saying, well, I'm going to put tariffs in. And okay, well, go ahead. We don't manufacture anything. So all that will do is make everything very, very expensive. It'll make everything very expensive for the average American. And it'll be impossible to buy things like refrigerators and iPhones and all the things that Americans covet. And we don't export anything. So then what? So that's great. So either way they win. Okay, put Trump in office, let him put in a tariff and impoverish Americans. Or put Harris in office and let her run her communist system and impoverish Americans. The way, the globalist way. They don't do shit. And as long as everybody's spun up on things like, oh God, they made a joke that upset me. Oh God, they said something online that was hurt my feelings. As long as everybody's doing that, then they're distracted from the big picture. Oh God, they didn't use my proper pronoun. Like you're not your body. Hey, people, wake up. I mean, you can write your body up however you want. You can call it whatever name you want to. You can take hormones, change your outward appearance. If you're a woman, have tits. If you're a man, you can add tits to yourself. I don't care. Like personally, I don't give a shit what you guys do to yourself. But you're trying to make the world conform to your own little personal identity, and it is the definition of narcissism. The world doesn't revolve around you. And that's not the purpose of life. And when you have a whole society of a bunch of coveting narcissists, then you have America. And that's the problem with America. In America, everybody thinks everything's about themselves. And all they do all day is covet things and think about me, 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 me. And both parties are full of people like that. And so the country's going to collapse. And there's nothing anybody can do about that until Americans have a come to Jesus moment where they go, wow, wait a second. This isn't about me. And that's why, part of the reason I became a Christian, read the Bible. And I've read the Bible, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read the Quran. So nobody can accuse me of saying, oh, well, you just read the Bible and you're uneducated. No, I've read all of the spiritual books. And I can find value in all of them. The Bhagavad Gita is wonderful. There's a lot to take from it, okay? But the reason that the Bible says the two greatest commandments, love God with all your soul and all your might, all your spirit, and something to that effect, right? And then love your neighbor as yourself, okay? The entire American system right now is the opposite of that. It has nothing to do with God, and it has nothing to do with loving your neighbor as yourself. It has everything to do with me. And you hear this in all the systems. Oh, me, pride, self-esteem. Okay, look at these things. Pride is a sin. Pride is a sin. And yet we have entire, month about pride. We have entire sin month. Let's have a whole month of sin. Let's be proud. Let's have self-esteem, which is just some sort of pride. So until we all humble ourselves and realize, you know what, this isn't about me. The world's not about me. The world is about God and it's about other people. How can I be of service? Right? Now, every great, whether it was God himself in the form of Jesus or God himself in the form of Krishna, came as a servant, not as king. And until humans understand this and they're willing to be of service, and that's the problem. It doesn't matter if it's Trump or if it's Harris. They're not coming as servants of the people. They want to be king. In the book of 1 Samuel, in the Bible, go to 1 Samuel and go to chapter 8. The people, the Israelites, are clamoring for a king. Up until that point, they had not had a king. They had God ruling. And Samuel warns them. He says, look, you want a king, but I'm going to tell you, here's what a king's going to do. A king is going to conscript your sons into war. He's going to make them be his servants. He's going to make them work his fields. He's going to make your daughters be his bakers and his perfumers. He's going to put all of you into servitude. He's going to take your land. He's going to make you pay taxes. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. You're going to be indentured to a person. And they said, we don't care. We want a king. We want a king. And that's how they got Saul. And Saul was very corrupt, right? And Saul was later the one who tried to kill David. And so, the Bible has these stories. And the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling the story to Arjuna. Arjuna is a prince. Arjuna is a prince, and he's a good prince, and he's fighting his 100 cousins for corrupt princes. And Krishna comes in the form of a charioteer. He's a servant. And he's enlightening Arjuna on the necessity of, the world is a corrupt place. Bhagavad Gita is a wonderful book. I recommend it. So these stories, they're here. There's wisdom in this. And humans don't learn these lessons, and this is why they keep getting themselves into these quagmires. Now, America, in its past, was a more religious society. So America would take this corrective action periodically, right? So even during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln declared a day of fasting and prayer. He said, let's appeal to God. Right? Because America had sins. Thomas Jefferson had said, God is just, so I fear for my nation. And he would know because he sired how many children with his slaves? He was one of the worst of them, right? So America's foundations are poor. America is a country with a foundation of slavery, and that is, the root cause of a lot of these problems America is having today. And that's why it's so easy to rile Americans up into race warfare, right? But Abraham Lincoln said we must appeal to God. He saw the injustice. And that's why many credit him for keeping the country together, right? We don't have that. We have, on the Trump side, they have these evangelicals saying, but they're blaspheming. They're calling Trump a king. They're just like the Israelites during the time of Samuel. We want a king. We want a king. Yes, he's corrupt. And yes, he's going to take advantage of us. And yes, he's going to do all these terrible things, but we want him anyway. And it was that moment that led the Israelites into all this destruction. You read 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, Chronicles, all of it. That moment. It was that moment. So Americans are doing the same thing. And they're both doing it. Both sides. So until Americans understand that the thing that they threw out, which is their connection to God, until they realize that that is going to be their only saving grace, they will continue down this path, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. And Trump is monetizing God. He's got Elon Musk out there going, "Is everything happening in Musk we trust?" So let's blaspheme. Because Musk's money somehow makes him God. That is an absolute sin. That is an absolute sin. His digital currency, one EMP will make Elon Musk as impoverished as me. Let me remind all of you of that. It is worth nothing. Money is worth nothing, and it is certainly worth nothing to God. So until everybody wakes up and realizes that, well, we're going to continue down this path, and maybe that's what we need. Because I don't think America and Americans are going to wake up and understand how dire their situation is and how spiritually off they are. Look, a lot of these so-called Christians that are on the Trump train, right? They're on the Trump train. They think Trump's going to save the country. So here they are lining up behind this right divorce guy with a hooker habit, right, to save the country. Now, is Trump preferable to Harris? I don't know. He did 4 years. He's done 4 years. I think they're all bad. Would he be preferable? I'm not sure. I don't have a crystal ball. But I think to ascribe to Donald Trump spiritual values is really off base. And if you're a Christian, you should have read the Bible and you understand that there should be no king but God. That's the entire point. The only king should be Jesus Christ. That's it. That's the only person we should be deifying. That's the only personhood that we should be putting the crown on. We should be praying, Lord Jesus, how can I make you the king of my life? Let your will be done. Not Trump, not Harris's. What is the will of Jesus Christ? And if you read enough of biblical history, you'll see, look, these nations, these countries, these empires, they come and they go. And it all serves God first. And maybe, I think Americans haven't had enough suffering. So maybe the suffering will be good for all of them. When people are hungry, they find God. And maybe that's what they need. Because clearly, people are not suffering enough if they're upset about the things that people say online. All of that is irrelevant. So that's what I have for everybody. I encourage all of you to pick up a Bible and read it. And thank you, Lori, for recording this. I really, I sometimes I think that, like, I don't even know if I should keep doing this. I don't know if it matters. But yesterday I was praying on it.
Yeah, a lot of people do appreciate these this podcast.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. I was praying on it yesterday, and this came to me. I was actually reading Samuel, and I was thinking this. I thought, this is the problem. There was a point in time in America's history when everybody read the Bible, and it was also a point in this time when America was great. These lessons that are in the Bible are timeless, and the problem is that there's a concerted effort. See, for a long time, the devil was like, okay, well, I'm like when the Roman Catholics ran Europe, right? What they did was they suppressed the Bible. There were no printing presses. People had no access to it, right? So he said, well, we're not going to give you the Bible. The priests will interpret it, right? So the average person didn't have access to a Bible. Yeah, and if you were caught with one, it was death, because they didn't want people to have that with them. Now there are more Bibles than there ever has been. People don't read them. And look, I was one of them. I understand that, I was raised by people who were like, oh, that's an arcane book and, irrelevant information. And then you read it. I've read hundreds and hundreds of books on history, and I will tell you all of it is encapsulated. If you read the book, I believe in reading history too. But when you read the Bible, you go, oh, this is the origin of this. So, we can talk about communist Russia. We can talk about communist China. Those stories already exist in the Bible. There's already this story in there about when the Israelites fell away from God time and time again. And it always leads to the same kind of massacre. Because there's a basic morality that is embedded in Judeo-Christian religious ethos. And when we get away from that, we will suffer. And that's what you're seeing now. So anyway, God bless you all. I really thank you for listening. I really pray that you're all kept well and kept safe. And I pray for all of you to read the Bible and for all of you to make God the center of your life. Because the only purpose of life is to keep glory to God. The truth that is essential. That's it. And I pray for that for all of you. I love you, Lou. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, I love you too.
I'll talk to all of you soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.
The caller has hung up.
Thank you for listening to Behind the Walls with MercedesCarrera.com. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify. Like, comment, and share. For more information on her case and to donate and information on how to write to her, go to justice4MercedesCarrera.com. That's justice, the number 4, MercedesCarrera.com.